live, so we'll just wait a second or two. Oh, here we go. Oh, hi, Marcus. Hello. Yeah, we were just saying it might be quite quiet, but obviously not. Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi guys.
Yeah, nice to see people. Because in America, I guess it's quite early yet. So like about 6 in the morning.
Yeah, true,
So
true.
yeah. All right. Okay, well, we'll get started. Yeah, so for anybody that doesn't know me, oh, hi, Mohammed. Good morning. Yeah, so for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Sue Reid. So my publication is Confidence Matters, and I talk about confidence, as you can imagine. I'm quite, I'm on Substack most days. I do lives. I've got podcasts, as well as my posts. So yeah, that's me. And do you want to introduce yourself, Chris?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Chris Parry. I've got a publication on Substack called Rewired, and it does what it says on the tin. I help people rewire their minds and question limiting beliefs, and help them understand that if they've been through a tumultuous time in the past, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it has to be moving forward. So I dive quite deep into that. I also write about productivity and business as well. And yeah, this is only my second live, so thanks for having me, Sue.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, there's a lot of people now that are doing their first lives. I think that's great. I mean, it does mean there are so many lives to watch at any particular time. There's so many going on, but it's great that we have the replay and we can look back at it whenever we like, which is
Yeah.
really good. But yeah, I do love lives. So yeah, so the reason I was really interested in talking to you is because you've got quite a story from your journey from A to B. So if we start at point A, where you were a chef and you applied to go on MasterChef, and if anybody doesn't know MasterChef, it's basically, I don't even know whether they're running it now because they've had some controversy with some of the presenters, not very
Yeah.
good. Which makes me glad now. I was going to apply to go on it because I just love baking, I love cooking, and it was kind of like in the back of my mind, like one day I'll this one day scenario when I get the confidence, I'll go on there. But I'm glad I didn't now. So yeah, so you have MasterChef for like people like me, normal home bakers. You have MasterChef for celebrities, which is always quite funny. And then you have MasterChef for the professionals, where they really, can show their talents and shine. And so Chris applied to go on MasterChef the professionals, which I think that takes a lot of confidence and courage in the first place. And I don't think everybody gets accepted, do they? So only a few actually get accepted. So, to get that far was great. First of all, then, why did you apply?
Yeah, so at the time I was running a gastro pub group in Derby, had a fairly good reputation and just wanted to push myself. I've always been quite ambitious and just wanted to put myself out there and dare to do something like that and then kind of see it as a platform to grow. I wanted to get into Rosette kitchens and then Michelin star kitchens was the plan. It didn't go to plan, as you'll find out, but I just wanted to see how it went really. And I went on the show and dared to be different. I did try something in terms of my signature dish that completely backfired, and yeah, which we'll go into. And yeah, it wasn't the best of experiences, in all honesty.
So how far did you get then? Because they do like the little test at the beginning. I know they've changed it over the years, but they do like a test and then you have something. Where's the point? At what point did you like, so how many rounds had you got through before you got to the signature dish?
Yeah, so there were 10,000 applicants that went for the series I was on. I think 45 got accepted to go on the show. I got to that stage, so I got to the television stage where I think it was viewed by 8 million people. They said in the end, my episode. But I went out in the first round, so I got there, did the skills test first, which I completely froze, and it couldn't have gone worse. I then had to dust myself off and do my signature dish, which again, I think the judges had probably already made up their mind, but I again froze. I struggled to even chop an onion. I was that nervous, and it
Ah.
completely, yeah, I forgot how to cook, to be honest. And yeah, it didn't go well, and I was at the end of the first day.
I mean, it just goes to show, for me, it goes to show how it's kind of unfair, those shows, any of those like reality TV shows, like, even things like X Factor, Love Island, because even if you are very competent in what you do, it's the confidence. So, like, your competence may get you there, and also the courage to apply in the first place, but it's the confidence that sees you through,
Mhm.
not necessarily the skill, especially in the first stages. And um, you can freeze. And it's like stage fright, isn't it? It's like, the pressure at that point in time can just, it doesn't matter how much you know, you just can't access it. It's like,
100% right. Yeah.
so you have a fight, flight, or freeze, and you froze.
I froze big time.
Yeah. So, because again, it's something that you hadn't done before, even though you were a chef,
Yeah.
you hadn't been in a situation where you knew that you were going to be on TV and all this pressure was on you, and I guess there was all the lights on you as well. And so your system, your brain didn't understand what was going on, and it just thought, we're going to die here. So you have to do something. Just stop a minute. So it
Yeah.
just froze everything. Let's just freeze and decide what we're going to do next.
Yeah, definitely. When you get there as well, it's not apparent how it's all filmed. And what they do is they put you in a terrapin when you arrive at the back of the studios, and I remember it being a bit of a dingy terrapin, to be honest. Then all of a sudden, they just ask you to follow them. So I got called, went and followed them, assuming I was going to go maybe meet the judges first and find out what I needed to do. And they opened a door, and I was live on telly.
Oh
Um,
wow!
well, I say live on telly, live on the recording front.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So instantly, my back's up, and from that point, within 10 seconds of walking in the room, I was just, yeah, mentally found that really difficult to deal with. And I'm not sure I've ever even told anybody that part of it before, but the surprise just overwhelmed me completely. And from that point, it was like I struggled to even crack an egg on the skills test.
Yeah. I wonder why they do that then, because, I imagine they would have treated you like royalty. You come in, they show you around, they explain what they're going to do, you meet the judges, and then that would give you a much like calmer sense of, where you are and starting and feeling safe.
Mhm.
So do you think they do that to kind of, um, make it a little bit more pressurized so that people, because that's good TV, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, that for people watching, that was great TV, because here's somebody, oh yeah, yeah, he thinks he's a great chef, and look at him, he can't even do anything
yeah,
right.
yeah, absolutely. You're totally right. And I think it's all done for that purpose. And, hats off to them. They've been a successful series for many, many years. And but when you arrive there, I mean, I didn't meet the judges until it was literally I was walking in the room on camera. There was no real no real welcome at all, really. It was like straight into the pressure cooker, as you say, and that's obviously done for a reason. And some people stepped up and they did it amazingly well. There was even people on my episode that I'm still friends with to this day, and they've gone on to get Michelin stars and real done really well for themselves, and others like myself that I don't even cook professionally anymore. So
No, 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 and we'll come to that. But so yeah, so what happened next? So you bombed out first round, embarrassing. I mean, somebody's got to go first, but that mega embarrassing, especially when you're a trained chef and you're expecting to get out of this with the potential for a Michelin star.
yeah.
Um, so what was going on in your head when they said, right, goodbye, get out, go through the door?
Embarrassment initially, and I knew instantly. They recorded it in the June, and it wasn't going to be aired till the November. So I knew that I would have to go through those months of waiting and nobody knowing I was even on the show. We weren't allowed to talk about it. It was
Right.
in a contract. But in the immediate aftermath, I thought, I can't believe I've got to wait 4 months and then relive all of this. And instantly, I think I came out in tears, rang my wife and kids, and just explained what had happened. And yeah, a real sense of embarrassment. And obviously, I had to go back to work the week after and explain to everybody that the chef that they maybe looked up to had bombed pretty disastrously.
And how did they take it?
There, there was support. There was support, but there was a lot of abuse and laughter. I mean, it was in the newspapers, on the radio. I was a bit of a laughing stock on social media at the time. to which I didn't deal with that very well. I actually came off social media altogether within when the show got aired. I decided just to come off Facebook, which I did for a few months. But yeah, it was. I struggle with that probably more than anything because I knew that the reputation I'd built in the area had
Yeah.
kind of diminished overnight.
Yeah, and this is why I don't really like programs like that. I mean, I watch them, not a lot now because I've kind of come to the realization. I mean, I used to watch it and think, "Ha ha, isn't that funny?" You know, X Factor, Big Brother, all of these. You know, you laugh at people's
Yeah.
misfortunes, but then you've got to look behind that and think, this is real people,
Mhm.
and they didn't sign up to be, embarrassed and shown up like that. Okay, yeah, they knew the risk when they went on, but it's still harsh, I think. It's really, and when you get, I mean, different show, but on X Factor, and you get people like Simon Cowell just telling you you're absolute crap and you shouldn't even bother to open your mouth again. It's soul destroying, I think.
Yeah, it is, and there was definitely an element of that from the judges as well. I've not really spoken about it because I didn't want to sort of pass the blame to anybody else because it was my own responsibility to manage my own
Mm.
behaviors and thoughts and actions afterwards. But at the time, I was a laughing stock, and they had no problem telling me on the show that I wasn't good enough to be a chef, and that's how I came out of the show.
Gosh, that's nasty. I mean, I can't believe that is so nasty because you are a trained chef, or you were a trained chef. We still are a trained chef, and you froze. So that is completely different. That's just like, a Hollywood actor forgetting their lines. It
Mm.
must happen at times, but they don't say, "Well, you're a rubbish actor. Get out." They
Yeah.
might actually. I don't know. um, and I just think that's really cruel because you people freeze. It's a human reaction. It's just a
Mhm.
survival instinct. That's all.
Yeah.
Do you think though? Because well, I'll ask that question in a minute because I just want to move on to what happened next. So you were now at work. You knew that people would be going to watch this program because you're well known in the area, and you weren't allowed to tell everybody in the area what had happened. So they're going to watch it on TV and go, "Oh my God, what?" um, so that would have been upsetting. What happened next then?
Yeah. So I went back to work, and within a week of the show being aired, I hold on. When would it have been? It would have been the June, the November. I handed my notice in within a month and left the job I was in, because I again embarrassment, wanted to push myself. So what I ended up doing was finding another job in a fine dining restaurant in the same area. And I went there and almost used that as an opportunity to redeem myself, if you like. So I went all in to trying to create the best possible food that I could. I was working 70, 80-hour weeks at that point and really almost felt like I was defined by my role at work. And there was a lot of difficult times at home because I was living at work. I was really trying. I was making everything homemade, down to the breads, the ice creams, the every single element of every dish. I was just pushing myself to the absolute limits in a bid to prove to everybody before it was aired what I was capable of. And
Yeah.
it worked to a certain extent, and I did carry on getting a good reputation in that restaurant. But when it was aired, it was pretty horrific. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was writing about this last week or the week before, but anyway, during February, I've been talking about self compassion, and you can have you can feel guilt where you feel like you've done something wrong, and you can feel shame where you feel like you are something wrong.
Yeah.
Which was going on in your mind then?
Shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you were ashamed of failing.
Mhm.
And so therefore you were pushing yourself like crazy to get back to where you were, which is not good for your health, is it?
It's not, no, and I was even looking to sort of go past that point as well. And like I say, I went from a certain type of restaurant and pub to one that was at a higher level,
Right.
and it was good. We were fully booked, reputation was still going well. But then obviously once it was aired, people were like, "Hang on a minute, the guy that who's cooked for us and his food was amazing, he actually can't cook after all because
Oh,
we've just seen
wow.
it."
Okay.
So I had to go through that internal battle, even though I was quite proud of the food I was creating in this particular
Yeah.
restaurant. It was it was very difficult because I was still being judged by people who maybe hadn't tried the food.
Yeah, like, again, that's horrible. Um, oh, Mohammed says, I'm really learning from your live. Oh,
Ah, thank you,
great,
Mohammed.
great, Mohammed. Yeah, so because yeah, so you like talk about self-punishment then. So you thought, well, what shall I do? I'll go into a job that's even harder than the one I just left. I'm really, really going to put myself through the ringer, and then I'm going to work every hour God sends as well. And then at what point did you turn to drink then, or were you already drinking then?
Yeah, so on the train home from the MasterChef studios, I had 2 bottles of red wine on the train,
Wow.
and that triggered it immediately. And although I went through stages of stopping and starting, and it wasn't a case of it was a daily thing for 6 years, but the cycle was there for 6 years, and that was my way of dealing with the stress, the overwhelm, the shame, the fear. I guess was all stemmed around the drinking at that point. So
Mm.
I'd have a hard day at work. I'd come home. I'd crack open a bottle of red wine. That was my tipple, and that kind of carried on even after long after I left the kitchens until 2021. Really,
Mm. So it was like a coping
yeah,
mechanism
hundred
for you.
percent,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Do you think that it was just that failure, or do you think that failure triggered triggered something from the past in you?
Maybe a bit of both. I think it was mainly down to the show. I think that kind of made it worse. I've always been somebody who's enjoyed a drink, never really had an issue with it in my own mind. I was able to drink socially every now and again, nights out, meals out, etc., etc. But then it became different. It became solitary drinking, end of shift drinking, and something that was just you'd wake up and have a hard day at work, and then knowing at the end of the day that you're going to be able to relax with a glass of wine or a bottle of wine in my case or two, and that was definitely a coping mechanism and one that I struggled to kind of get out of my routine for a very, very long time.
Yeah, yeah. And so did you stay in this fine dining restaurant then?
6 months.
You stayed 6 months,
Yeah.
and what happened then?
So my wife was pregnant with our youngest, who is now he's 10 this year, and
So how did she get pregnant when you were working so many hours?
I know my mum's just logged in, so I better not, go into that too much. Hello, mum. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, yeah, we just had a chat one time in April, and I was explaining, we weren't really. She knew I wasn't happy, and I was working too many hours. And we said, look, let's just try. Let's take a risk. So I literally handed my notice in. I had no job lined up, and I kind of fell into freelancing, and the freelancing became my recruitment agency. 10 years later, we've done over 6 million in revenue, and it's still going to this day. So it was a good decision at the time, even though it took me a long time to get to a place where I could really appreciate the business I'd built.
brilliant. Okay. I just got that message. So Virginia says, "Hi, mum." That's to your mum.
Hi, Virginia. So Virginia actually came on the live on Monday, so thank you for coming again.
Oh, bless her. Yeah, you obviously made an impression.
Hope so. Hope so.
Yes, yes. So you left the restaurant and then started your own recruitment agency.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was to recruit chefs, was it?
exactly that. So it was my way of still staying within the industry and
Yeah.
using the contacts that I'd kind of built over the negative period of MasterChef. I got pretty well known, so people knew who I was. So it wasn't difficult for me to recruit chefs, to be honest. And it kind of went from 0 to 100 in a matter of 8 to 12 weeks. It just went boom. We'd already got to 6 figures within 3 months.
Wow.
And then, yeah, not it just carried on growing and growing and growing. But because I didn't have the capacity I wasn't a businessman. I didn't know how businesses were ran, and I kind of got thrown in the deep end. And what came with that was the stress and the continued cycle of binge drinking. Really,
Right. Okay. Yeah. So just but was this now a good stress or was it still bad?
it should have been a good stress. I think I'd created a life of freedom. I was working from home. I had everything from the outside that I thought I wanted, but I still had a lot of demons, I guess, to
Ah,
face and a lot of obstacles to overcome. And it took me I didn't really start working on my mindset and the psychology of how the mind works probably until 2019, 2020.
mm,
So I was still living in a victim mindset. I was still had real limiting beliefs of my ability as a chef, as a businessman, even as a dad and husband to a certain extent. And I needed to change.
Right. Okay. And so the chefs that you were taking on board then, why do you think they came to you? So, you said like people were laughing at you, and you were well known for the wrong reasons. So why do you think they wanted to work with you when you were clearly such a failure?
Yeah, I mean, it was divided. Certainly wasn't a case of everybody was against me. I had like a clan of people that were my biggest supporters, and people that I'd worked with and actually seen that I was a good chef. A lot of those came to me and said, "Look, we'll come and work with you, Chris, or work for you, Chris." And then it's amazing word of mouth how it works, especially if you specialise in a specific area geographically. So I'm in Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire. Before I knew it, I was getting messages left, right, and centre saying, "Can we really quit our jobs and go and work for a pretty handsome hourly rate rather than working 80 hours a week for a pretty crappy
Brilliant.
salary?"
Right. So
So
there's probably not many restaurants that have got chefs left in your area there, 'cause you can take them
I've
on.
maybe pinched a few of them over the years, but it's I think with freelancing it offers a good work life balance. So even the chefs that work with
Yeah.
me to this day, they can choose if they don't want to work weekends, they don't have to. If they want evenings off, they can ask for that. Whereas when you're in a salaried role, you are expected to be available and to do whatever it takes to run that kitchen, even if that means working 80 hours a week.
Yeah, brilliant. So this is more like a catering side, is it? Or so like if I was having a dinner and I wanted somebody to cook for me, is that the type of chef?
No, so
Oh,
we supply restaurants, hotels,
right.
golf clubs, cafes. So if they have a gap in their own kitchen and they need
Mhm.
support, they ring us. We've got at the moment we've got a pool of around 30 to 35 chefs that work for the company. We send them on the job, charge the client, pay them, and then we have a margin, a percentage fee of that.
Yeah, I see. Brilliant. And so when it started working then, when you like earn these six figures, let me just read Mohammed's tell him to come establish his business in Gambia. There you go.
Yes, food for thought.
Open a business in Gambia. Thank you, Mohammed. That's good. Yeah. So when you started doing well, then when you were earning these six figures from the agency, what was going through your head then? Because I mean, I would be delighted if I opened a business and it was earning that much straight away. So what were you thinking?
I was still pretty miserable, to be honest. I've never been, I wasn't very good at zooming out and appreciating what I've got and what I've built. I would always find the negatives in a situation, which I'm very different to now. I practice gratitude and I'm quite good at finding the positives in every
Yeah.
obstacle. But then it was just a case of, I would resent every phone call because it meant I had to be busier and had to work more hours. And it was just a trap, a cycle of, yes, I'm successful. Yes, I'm earning X, Y, Z, but I'm still unhappy.
Mm.
So that hadn't really been addressed.
Do you think that might have been a little bit of like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire? So you've not really had a chance to heal.
Yeah,
You were just one stressful situation to another stressful situation, and kind of different types of stresses, really, but still stressful.
100%. Yeah. I think it was 10 days after I left the kitchen, I was in another kitchen working and I went straight into it. And within, I think I'd done 2 or 3 weeks of freelancing on my own. So the Optimal Chef Services was literally just me for the first few weeks. And then before I knew it, yeah, I'm getting phone calls. I'm having to book chefs in and trying to run a business when I'd had no business acumen whatsoever. And yeah, and that was driven by, again, fear of failure, needing it to be a success. And I was probably more stressed than ever at that point.
Right. So what happened then? What was the turning point?
Yeah. So COVID was a big thing. I think it, without wanting to be judgmental or assume, I think COVID for some people went one of two ways. For me, it was a I see it as a positive experience coming out of it, and obviously not what happened itself.
No.
But I was able to work on. I started delving into psychology, into CBT, into other areas of psychology that I really developed a passion for. Started to understand my own mind, and was still drinking for about 18 months after that period. But then on Boxing Day 2021, I woke up one morning, said to my wife, I am done. The change happens from today. And that was over 4 years ago, and I haven't touched a drop since.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, it's funny about COVID because there are so many people, and I think it's kind of like an enforced break, isn't it?
Uh,
And COVID was terrible
yeah.
because at the beginning of it, none of us knew whether we were going to live. We could all
Yeah.
have died. So it was a horrible thing to have to live through. But coming out of it, some people had real, and it's kind of like when you have a serious illness and you recover, like cancer or something like that, or heart attack, and you have this like come out with this enlightenment that life could be so different. Like, why am I working all these hours when I could drop dead tomorrow anyway? So why not enjoy my life instead? So I think so many people found COVID to be a real life changer, really.
Totally agree. And you've hit the nail on the head there. I think I was able to, in my own instance, I was able to really think deeply about everything that had happened, and I had the space to kind of process because I'd not really stopped for years. I was constantly going, so that gave us an opportunity to spend time as a family first and foremost, and it just made me realize this. I don't have to keep living this way. And it became a must and not a should. It was a real trigger at the end of 2021 where I said, right, this needs to change. Not next week, not next month, not next year. It changes today. And like I said, I've definitely never looked back from that point, really.
And how easy did you find that then to just stop drinking? And did you have any, like when things got really busy at work, did you have any urges to start drinking again? Or was that, no, that's it?
The urges were always there, I think, for probably 12 months afterwards, but I knew that the reward would never be worth the consequence. And I got that into my mind very early on. And I can confidently say now that I know no matter what I go through in the rest of my life, no matter what happens, I will never turn to drink again because I just know that the reward just isn't worth it.
Brilliant, brilliant. And did you replace it with anything?
Running.
You knew I was leading up to
Yeah.
that. You started running, yes, yeah. And actually, that is very, very similar to a friend of mine. He went through, he had a very high-powered job. He went through a lot of stress. He um, he was married with two girls, but then confessed he'd been gay all along. So he came out and is now with his partner. He had cancer. He had, because of all the strain he was putting himself through. Then his mum died. His dad had already hung himself years before. So he'd gone through all of that. And he was drinking and drinking. And he had a very high powered job and was coming in drunk at work. And it just, I mean, and just after his mum died, I think he really made a fool of himself at some like managers do that he was supposed to be um, representing the company. And he got the sack. So no, there was no, oh, we understand what you've been going through. Take a break and
Mhm.
maybe, sort yourself out and then come back. No, he was sacked. That was it. Full stop. He started running. He does ultra marathons. He goes all over the world. He's a motivational speaker. He's got another job as a lecturer in a university. He is doing absolutely fine. And again, doesn't drink, stop drinking altogether because it doesn't go with running, does it?
No.
um, and such a different person though.
That's amazing. Is he on Substack? I'd love to follow him. That
He's
sounds
not, no, he's on
no.
LinkedIn, but he's not on Substack. Yeah.
What an amazing story, and hats off to him. That's incredible.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and he's a really good guy, really good, and his family, his wife or ex-wife now, and his two daughters, totally supportive. They kind of were like, "Well, now we understand."
Yeah,
Yeah, really good story. But tell us about your running then. What made you think, right, I'm going to go for a run now then? And
yeah. So in the January 2022, so I'd been sober a couple of weeks. My son Tristan, he just put it in. He just said, "Dad, can we go for a run?" Like, eh. I used to struggle to run to the end of the street, to be honest. But we went and did a 5K, and I was stopping and starting and really flagging. I couldn't run a mile without stopping, but I got a real passion for it. And I think within 8 weeks, I'd done a half marathon. Within 8 months, I'd done a 50K ultra marathon, and kind of just went on from there, really. And now, just over 4 years later, I absolutely love it. It's part of my identity, and I really value that time on the trails.
yeah, but you had a bit of a setback recently though.
Yeah, I broke my ribs in an ultra marathon in early December. So I had a 85K race down in Eastbourne, and 5 kilometers in, I slipped and landed on my trekking pole, broke my ribs. But carried on and ran for another 14 hours after that, which was
As you do, yeah.
yeah, probably not the right decision with hindsight. But and I finished the race with 2 minutes to spare before the cutoff, so I was very proud of that.
Yeah.
The medal sits on my desk, and I look at it with real pride. But at the same time, I probably should have gone to hospital. So
Oh well, it's got to be done.
yeah.
Oh. And so, why did you set up your Substack, and what are you trying to do with it?
Yeah, so I started writing online 8 or 9 months ago, and to be honest, to begin with, it was more of a diary to myself. I quite like the way I process things. I just like writing about it, and I started to put some bits and bobs out there, and got some really good feedback. And I've had some amazing messages from people that have said that some of the words that I've written has helped them in their own life. And to me, to get that kind of feedback, there's probably no better thing if you can help somebody else. So yeah, I've been consistently on Substack since September, I would say. I joined in June and was very hit and miss to begin with, but I've not missed a newsletter since September. I've had a podcast every week since November, I believe, and I would like to monetize it and have a second business is the goal long term. Still in the early stages of it, and I know you need to build authority and trust in the space first, and the business will maybe be a byproduct of it. As long as I can continue writing online and it helps people, then impact is the whole point.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Okay. And how do you feel in yourself now compared to that day when you walked out of MasterChef?
Like it was a different person, to be honest. I'm very, very different now. And don't get me wrong, I think some people see the self-development journey as something you could complete, like a game. I think it's important to state that the work never stops. So there are days where confidence is low. There are days where I may struggle compared to other times. Breaking my ribs was a prime example of that. I probably went through a 6 to 8 week period where I struggled because I wasn't able to turn to the thing that helps
Right.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's definitely worth stating that it's definitely not a level you can complete, and it's something that is always ongoing. But I know I have the tools now to deal with whatever life throws at me, and there'll be good days, there'll be bad days, but ultimately the identity around it all is a place that I'm really proud of and happy to be.
Brilliant. So if you could go back now, would you still enter MasterChef knowing what was going to happen?
No. I should say yes, really, shouldn't I? Because this wouldn't be here without it. But yeah, it was tough. It was yeah, definitely the lowest point of my life for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't even know whether they're still doing the series because of all the trouble they've had. I doubt it, but something similar. So if somebody was thinking of applying to something like that to be on national TV, would you, and assuming it was still the same, that you go in some scruffy tent and nobody bothers to talk to you, and then the next minute you're being filmed, um, would you recommend somebody tries that, or would you say just stay away from it? It's not worth it.
I would never deter anybody from chasing their dream, to be honest. And I think I would say to people, go for it, but be prepared and be
Yeah.
prepared for what might happen in the aftermath. I mean, I've got friends that have been on the program since, and they've done very well for themselves and have landed really good roles off the back of it. So I would never deter anybody, definitely not. But yeah, be prepared for what might happen is probably the only advice. Prepare for the worst case scenario, which definitely happened in my case.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's really good advice. And I think, whatever you're going into, if it's some sort of competition where you don't know what the outcome's going to be, I mean, I always think hope for the best, but plan for the worst. So if you kind of know that if this goes wrong, this is what I'll do,
Yeah.
and you've got that B plan, it helps your nervous system. Like, if I start to feel tense, then I'll ground myself, I'll breathe.
Mhm.
I won't panic, um, or freeze or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, brilliant. I mean, it's a really, really good story. It's probably something worth, writing about. I
It's
know
funny
you
you
do
should
write
mention
about
that.
it, but write a book about it or something like that.
I actually have. I haven't told you about that bit. Actually,
Oh, okay.
I did publish a book called Sober Trails in December. I haven't marketed it or really put it out there, apart from to friends and family, if I'm perfectly honest. But it is there. It's on Amazon. Yeah, called Sober Trails, and it's basically the story from MasterChef to the present day. And I've structured it around 4 pillars, which is mindset, sobriety, running, and nutrition. So if anybody wants to check it out, you're more than welcome to. It's under a tenner, and it's on Prime. So.
You definitely. And you should market that more, like put it on your Substack so people can see it's there. Because I mean that,
Yeah,
like I said, that makes a really good story.
yeah, I should. I know I should. Yeah, I don't know if there's a bit of fear around that still, a little bit, maybe. I had to go through writing the book was a difficult spell because I
Yeah,
had to relive it all.
yeah,
And it was almost like I didn't really care about how successful it was because I was able to use it to put it to bed.
yeah, yeah.
To be fair, but yeah, I probably should market it and at least maybe try and monetize that a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, be proud of it. It's your work. Okay. Vicky says it's a brilliant book. There you go.
Thank you, Mum. That's my mum.
Oh, it's your mum.
My mum is a massive inspiration to me. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. Right. Okay. So this has been absolutely brilliant. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish off?
Um, I think if anybody watches this and resonates with anything I've said, then subscribe for free and take a look. And any of my readers that are watching this that have come from mine, by all means, follow Sue as well. Sue's work is amazing. Does some amazing lives. She's got the YouTube channel, and your words, Sue, are always a pleasure to see and to read on Substack. So you keep up the great work as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I hope people subscribe to your Substack because you're doing great work as well. And I think we need people like us that help people with their mindsets.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I will send you the link to my friend. He was on LinkedIn.
Mm.
Not I about said to him, come on Substack, but I don't think he's got the time. But yeah, I will let you know who he is because I think your stories are very similar in different ways, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, please do. Yeah, it'd be great. I'm always looking for inspirational people to be around. It certainly helps. So yeah, and what a story. What a great guy.
Yeah, yeah, bless him. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, everybody that's here watching, and thank you if you're watching the replay. Thank you, Mohammed. Mohammed said it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Mohammed. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, very grateful. Right, okay, and thank you, Chris. Maybe we'll do another live in the future. Yeah,
Definitely. And thank you.
carry on doing lives. You're doing really great.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me. And thank you, Virginia, for tuning in again. I really appreciate it.
Definitely, yeah. Thank you then.
Hey,
Cheers then.
take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.